We assume the people who never post are the insecure ones. The science says they might be the healthiest ones in the room. Think about the people you follow, the quiet ones. They see everything and they react to nothing. Birthdays, sunsets, promotions, breakups, wrapped in a soft filter over the pain. All of it slides past them, and they just watch. They never post. And your first instinct is to explain them away. They must be shy. They must be hiding something. They must think they are better than all this. Every one of those guesses is wrong. What is actually happening inside their heads is stranger than that, and honestly, a little uncomfortable, because it holds up a mirror to the rest of us. So let's talk about what really goes on in the mind of someone who posts nothing at all. Here is the first thing that cracks the whole story open. The silent ones are not the minority. They are almost everyone. There is a pattern researchers have watched online for decades. It is called participation inequality. Roughly 90% of people on any platform only watch. About 9% react or comment once in a while. And around 1% create almost everything you will ever see. 99, 1. Read the room again with those numbers. The people posting 3 times a day are a tiny sliver. That quiet 90%, the lurkers, they are the actual crowd. So the person who never posts is not the odd one out. They are the rule. We just never notice the rule because the rule is silent by definition. And when you really think about it, the strange behavior was never the silence. The strange behavior is broadcasting your private life to a few thousand strangers and calling that normal. So if silence is the norm, why is it so hard to stay silent? Why does not posting take actual willpower? Because the app was built to beat your willpower, and most people misread how. You think the addictive part is the likes, the little hearts, the comments, the numbers climbing. It is not. The addictive part is not knowing. Psychologists have a name for this: variable ratio reinforcement. In plain words, a reward you cannot predict. Back in the 1950s, B.F. Skinner found that animals worked the hardest and gave up the slowest when the reward showed up on a random schedule. Not every time, not never, sometimes. That uncertainty is the hook. It is the exact machinery inside a slot machine. You do not pull the lever because you win, you pull it because you might. One former tech designer called the phone a slot machine in your pocket, and he was not exaggerating. Every time you post and swipe down to refresh, you are pulling the lever. Will it hit this time? Maybe. And the maybe is the whole trap. Now here is the part that flips it. The dopamine, the brain chemical everyone loves to blame, does not spike when you win. It spikes before, while you are waiting, while you still do not know. The anticipation is the high. The like is almost a letdown. So the people who quit posting are not stronger than you. They did not out-discipline the machine. They just stopped pulling the lever, and the noise went quiet. And walking away from that machine might be the sanest thing they ever did. Because something really did change. Right around one specific window of time. A psychologist named Jonathan Haidt calls it the Great Rewiring. Somewhere between 2010 and 2015, childhood moved off the playground and onto the screen. And the timing is hard to shrug off. For decades, teen depression and anxiety were basically flat. Then, around 2012, they climbed sharply. Not in one country. In the United States, Canada, Britain, Australia, the Nordic countries, all at once. Haidt points to a stack of damage that rode in with the shift. Less real time with friends, worse sleep, and a shredded attention span. Sit with one number for a second. The average teenager now gets around 237 notifications a day. That is one tap on the shoulder every few minutes they are awake. And it is not just teenagers. The average person now spends over 2 hours a day on social media. Stretch that across a full year, and it adds up to more than a month of your waking life. Gone, every single year, to the scroll. Now, honesty matters here, so here is the other side. Not every scientist agrees with Haidt. One researcher, writing in the journal Nature, argued that he confused correlation with causation, that phones lining up with the sadness does not prove phones caused the sadness. It is a real, unsettled fight, and she is not wrong to push on it. But look at where both sides actually land. Nobody is arguing that nothing happens. They are arguing about why. And the quiet 90% did not wait for the researchers to agree. They felt the cost in their own chest, and they stepped back from it. So stepping back is not weakness. For a lot of people, it comes down to one question. Who gets to decide their life was any good? Picture two people on the exact same incredible trip. Same beach, same food, same golden sunset. The first one reaches for the phone. Best angle, perfect caption, already picturing the comments before the moment is even over. The second one just thinks, wow, this is beautiful, and lets it be. The end. The gap between those two people has a name. Psychologist Carl Rogers called it your locus of evaluation. That is just a heavy phrase for a simple thing. Where do you keep the judge of your own worth? Inside you or outside you? The first person handed the judge to strangers. Their trip only became truly great once a few hundred people confirmed it with a heart. The second person kept the judge at home. Their trip was great the instant it happened, and nobody needed to sign off on it. That is the quiet strength of the people who never post. It is not confidence exactly. It is ownership. They never gave away the remote control to their own self-worth, and once you notice that trade, you start to see it in your own thumb, hovering over the share button, waiting to find out whether your life counted. And here is the twist that should sting a little. All that performing, all that careful posting, it is aimed at an audience that is barely looking up. In the year 2000, researchers ran a small, brilliant experiment. They sent college students walking into a room wearing a deliberately embarrassing t-shirt, a big, goofy face across the chest. Afterward, they asked each student, how many people in there noticed your shirt? The students guessed about half the room. The real number was closer to a quarter. People clocked them half as much as they feared. They named it the spotlight effect. You feel a spotlight following you everywhere, so you assume everyone is watching, judging, remembering. They are not. Every single one of them is starring in their own movie, quietly worrying about their own shirt. Let that land for a second. The likes you chased. The post you deleted because it flopped. The photo you agonized over for 20 minutes. Most people thumbed past it in half a second and forgot it before lunch. The ones who stopped posting figured this out quietly. Nobody is watching as closely as you think they are, and the moment you truly believe that, the whole performance starts to feel a little bit pointless. Now, before this turns into a gold star for quiet people, let's kill that idea fast. Most people who go silent are not enlightened monks who crack some ancient code. They are just tired. And it is a very specific kind of tired. You open the app to relax, and instead you get a highlight reel of everyone who seems to be winning harder than you. Prettier, richer, further ahead, more loved. You know in your rational mind that it is only a highlight reel. You compare yourself anyway. You cannot help it. The human mind measures itself against whatever it can see, and the feed is engineered to show you the peak of everyone else, while you are standing in your own messy middle. Do that a few hundred times a day, and something quietly wears out. Not your happiness, exactly. Your energy. So people go quiet. Not out of wisdom, out of self-preservation. They back away the same way you slip out of a party that got too loud. It is not a statement. It is a nervous system saying, that is enough for today. And that deserves respect, not a diagnosis. Sometimes the healthiest move is not fighting the trap harder every day. Sometimes it is just walking out of the room. Underneath every one of these reasons sits a single confusion, and it is the deepest one of all. Somewhere along the way, we quietly mixed up two things that were never the same: being seen and being worth something. Think about how unnatural the urge actually is. For 300,000 years, humans lived and loved and grieved and died with no audience beyond the people around the fire. Nobody captioned the sunset. Nobody posted the hunt. The reflex to broadcast is not some deep ancestral instinct. It is about a decade old, trained into us by likes and shares and streaks, until the brain swapped one word for another without asking. Validation started to feel like value. But the moments that actually build a life almost never have a camera pointed at them. The late-night talk that changed your mind, holding someone while they fell apart, the small private win that nobody clapped for, the grief you carried alone and survived. None of it trends. None of it gets a hashtag. It lives in your memory, not in any feed. The people who stopped posting are not hiding those moments from you. They are keeping them for themselves. And maybe that is the real shift. Refusing to chop your whole life into little pieces just so strangers can rate the pieces one by one. So here is the part you can actually use. And no, it is not delete everything and move to a cabin. You do not have to quit. You just have to take the judge back. 3 small moves do most of the work. First, turn off notifications. Not some of them, all the ones that are not a real human being talking to you. That one switch unplugs the slot machine, because the machine only works when it can surprise you. Second, when you do post for the archive, not the applause. Put it up for the version of you 10 years from now, then close the app without checking who liked it. That quietly hands the judge back to you. And third, every now and then, let something wonderful happen, and do not capture it at all. No photo, no story, just you, there, all the way present. None of this makes you better than anyone. That was never the point. The point is that presence is getting rare, and the people who guard it are quietly holding on to something the rest of us keep trading away for a number. So think about your own life for a second. When was the last time something truly wonderful happened, and it never once crossed your mind to post it? And if you have to reach back a long way to find it, what do you think that is telling you?